I'm happy to be going back and celebrating them for all of their accomplishments, and any excuse to get back together with some of my alum, something I'm going to take advantage of. I'm really proud of these women who now, post leaving Missouri Western, have successful lives and are happy and doing well. And, that's, for me, that's really cool to watch them progress past college too. Our home game environment was the best in the MIAA by far. It was a special time, it really was. It was a special time in Missouri Western history.
You're listening to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast, giving you an in-depth look at Missouri Western athletics with interviews, features, game broadcasts, and more. Here's your host, Tommy Rezaj.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to the Griffon Sports Insider Podcast Hall of Fame series as we inch closer to Hall of Fame weekend here on the Missouri Western campus. It'll be the first couple days in November when we get to celebrate this 2024 class. And as always, some really esteemed teams, some legendary teams. But this year, we get to honor some of the heroes from the 21st century from maybe more recent history. And certainly in the 2010s, you think about Missouri Western softball and baseball. We talked some baseball on the first edition of this series, and now we focus on softball, particularly in the year 2016. A very dominant run, still one of the most dominant in school history and in MIAA history, a team that went 45-13 overall, 23-3 in the MIAA, undisputed MIAA champions for the first time in program history, winning the regular season and tournament championships that year. Here to talk about it, she herself, a 2021 Missouri Western Hall of Fame inductee, now entering her third season as the head softball coach at the University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities, I should say. Jen-Bagley Trotter joining us. Jen, is that technically in St. Paul then, the St. Thomas campus, or whereabouts is that exactly?
No, you're right. It's St. Paul.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. All right. I thought so. I lived in Minnesota for 8 or 9 months, so it's been a little while, but my geography a little rusty there. But either way, congratulations on this honor. By now, you've been to a few of these things, these Hall of Fame ceremonies that we have on campus, and to see this team in particular get there, what was your reaction when you heard the news?
I was really excited for this team because they deserve it. It was an incredible year with an incredible group of humans to do it with. And so I'm happy to be going back and celebrating them for all of their accomplishments, and any excuse to get back together with some of my alum, something I'm going to take advantage of.
Absolutely. Looking at that 2016 team, you had such a great start to conference play. You open at 7-1, you win 14 of 15 in the month of April, and you run the table in the MIAA tournament, a perfect 4-0. You go down to the regional in Magnolia, win a couple of games. You're ranked as high as 11th in the country, and for the efforts, you get Coach of the Year, 9 all MIAA honorees. Certainly on paper, top to bottom, a very dominant team, outscoring opponents a combined 334 to 181. But take me back to that school year 15 and 16, when you're playing games in the fall, you're off-season conditioning, and you get going in early spring. When in your mind did you feel like that team could really be something special?
It's funny because you look back. You go back to years and even just hearing you say our record and looking back at the run that we made, super impressive. If I wasn't me within it and looking from the outside in, it's like, what a year. And I think when you're in it, and maybe this is my downfall as a coach, is that you get so hyper focused on what's next or what we need to work on. You look at the things that we're not doing well versus the things we're doing well. You get so ingrained into that mindset that then when it's all over and you pick your head up and you're like, wow, that was something else. And I think when I started to really feel like this team was on their way to doing something special, it was, when we swept Pitt State at home. I think that was probably a big, huge. There's no shrugging away from how great this team is, because not only did we not only did we win both those games, they were extra inning games, both of them, and coming down to one run, walk off in both of them, where we realized that there wasn't only talent, but there was that intangible heart, passion, determination, competitiveness that team was just not going to go down. And that was really fun to coach, really fun to coach.
You've obviously coached, dozens of players, all super talented, and particularly in, with this team, co-defensive player in the year in the MIAA and Katie Klosterman, and then Morgan Rathman, along with Katie, both all region players. How much have you heard from members of this team, either before or since this Hall of Fame announcement? How much are you still able to kind of keep in contact with some of them?
Yeah, that group was really special. You think about that whole recruiting class of, I'm scared to start listing because I might miss somebody, but it was Katie Klosterman and Sid Washington and Morgan Rathman and Kaylee Green and like Megan Corgi, that whole group, and their loyalty to the program, the way they conducted themselves, led the way for that team and the underclassmen to come up and fight for them because they pulled them along with them, which I think was really cool. And I've been able to stay loosely in touch with a lot of them. You get the wedding invites and the baby announcements and
Sure.
the new job things, and Facebook's awesome, and it's a way for us to keep in touch. But I'm really proud of these women who now, post leaving Missouri Western, have successful lives and are happy and doing well. And, that's, for me, that's really cool to watch them progress past college too.
Our guest is former Missouri Western head softball coach Jen-Bagley Trotter. She was the head coach of the now Missouri Western Hall of Fame inducted, or soon to be inducted, 2016 MIAA championship team. Wanted to kind of reflect on that era a little bit, baseball, softball, the 2013 baseball team being inducted alongside you guys. And I had the chance as a day before this recording to talk to Grant Fink, who was a third baseman on that team. And he, a 2022 Hall of Fame inductee. He's coming back in person for the ceremony this year, so obviously exciting. But talked with him, about his relationship with Buzz Verduzco, and of course, you and Buzz were great friends, co-workers there for so long. And that 2010s era, the banners are out there at the Spring Sports Complex, commemorating what you guys did. When you think about that stretch, 2013, 15, 16, for him to win it in 13, and for you guys to kind of go back and forth, going to the NCAA tournament all those years, how fondly do you kind of look back at that era there?
So it was a special time, it really was. It was a special time in Missouri Western history. Having Buzz, who's a dear friend of mine, my next door neighbor, my whole career at Missouri Western, to watch his teams do well. There's nobody I would be happier for than Buzz, who, did such a good job of raising strong, good men, is a big hallmark of his program. And to see them flourish, and both of us being able to do so with our newly built Spring Sports Complex. You talk about the banners out there. I mean, that was in the era post facilities. It was definitely a build it and they will come situation. Build the facilities, and it's no secret that in that era, with all of those new facilities, we saw football pop off with their exciting runs, with the David Bass era and the Mike Hills and that whole era. But baseball doing well. We had a good run of things, and we had tennis starting to make a run for things, and golf. It was fun to be a part of that era because, when you have a culture of athletes that are invested in each other. And I think you saw a lot of that in that era too, where you would go out to a soccer game and you would see the baseball team, or you would go out to a baseball game and you'd see all the softball players there. Or, I mean, our home game environment was the best in the MIAA by far. And it was because our student athletes were invested in it. And, that culture of winning that was present in the training room when they would knock into each other in between, on their way to and from practice, in the weight room, and how they went about their business there, and we had Greg Carbon, who was leading the way of making sure that our athletes were pushing the bar there. And I think that those types of things, it was the perfect storm of so many really outstanding people. But even more than that, it was this winning culture that was going on at Missouri Western at that point in time, where us coaches are like, just don't get in the way and let it happen, is really, it was special.
Yeah, a lot of great people, pulling for each other and pulling in the same direction. And that's kind of what I said at the outset. I think you're now starting to see some of the more modern day, the 21st century heroes of Griffon Athletics getting inducted into these Hall of Fames, and now 2016 softball amongst them. Well, just a couple more things for you, Jen. Now, it's kind of crazy. I'd been living here a few months, maybe 6 months when you announced your departure, and hard to believe, yeah, like 3 years since you've gone up there. But but you got the whole gang together, Reggie Trotter on the football staff there, Zoe just starting her collegiate playing career for you. I know Quentin just moved up there. You've got Camille at the University of Iowa still, but to get your family up there in your home state and on campus for in large part, man, just how are the Trotters settling in up there?
The Trotters are doing great. Reggie and I couldn't be more proud of our kids and where they are in their lives and trying to figure out their next steps. It's funny because, he and I both spent the majority of our coaching career in college, and we're now in we're parenting kids in the age frame of the kids we've coached our whole career. And that's kind of cool. It's cool being a part of having young adults in parenting, and I'm, Quentin's doing great. He's loving being up here in Minnesota and in the Twin Cities and all that it has to offer. Just a change of scenery and being able to kind of do his own thing, just as Quentin Trotter, without anything attached to that, as he's trying to find his way. And Zoe, it's fun to go out to practice every day and see that squirt running around. And a lot of her passion for softball came from that group of athletes that's going in. Yeah. And that's part of the story of this too. It's crazy how full circle it is. She's coming with me as my date because she's like, Jen, I was pretty much on that team too, because she spent time in our dugout. She spent time at our on our road trips. She was our little bat girl, in that time frame. And she looked up to Sid Washington. She looked up to Katie Klosterman. She wanted Milkshakes to be her walk-up song, and Reg and I are like, no, we're gonna. But yeah, and so now it's funny how things kind of come full circle. And now, Camille's doing her thing at Iowa, and she's happy. And them growing up in an environment where they had the role models, like some of the athletes that are going in to the Hall of Fame this year, it isn't lost on Reggie and I that a lot of our kids and who they are as human beings are because of the incredible people we were able to surround them with when they were younger.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And one of the, more recent, or one of the last signings I got to cover when I was at the radio station was Zoe Trotter there at Central, and seeing you and Buzz there for that moment was super special. And that's a story we enjoyed following, throughout not only my years, but people who had covered St. Joe sports longer than me or before me. That's so cool, and glad to hear y'all are doing well, and I'll be excited to see some of you come back here on November 1st for the Missouri Western Hall of Fame ceremony, the 2024 class, to be enshrined on the night before our Hall of Fame game against Central Oklahoma here at Spratt Stadium. That is Jen-Bagley Trotter, 20 years, over 670 wins here at Missouri Western. We all know what she did and got her Hall of Fame moment a couple years ago, and now gets to take a victory lap with the 2016 team, a legendary team, certainly well deserving of their Hall of Fame induction. Jen, good to talk to you again. Glad to hear things are going well, and good luck to the Tommies this year. I know there's a lot of folks around here that are following that and rooting for you guys. So thank you again for the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Tommy. We'll see you I guess it'll be about a month now, right?
Yeah, it's getting close. We look forward to it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.